we move on to react. So Jimmy Butler, he got a 7-game suspension from the Miami Heat because of conduct detrimental to the team. As it's looking like the relationship between Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler is falling apart. After the game, Jimmy Butler, after last game, Jimmy Butler came out saying, I want to see me getting my joy back playing basketball, wherever that may be. We'll find out here pretty soon. I'm happy here off the court, but I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop and I want to help this team win, and right now I'm not doing it. And then when he was asked if he could get his joy back on the court playing with the Miami Heat, he said probably not. And then Miami Heat came out with a statement earlier today saying we have suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team over the course of the season, and particularly the last several weeks. So it looks like Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat are at standoff. It's clear he wants to go. Miami, Pat Riley did come out recently and say, Jimmy Butler is now for trade. Obviously that changes. Now they consider trade offers. It just completely changes the deal, right? Here's the thing. There's an element in here that Jimmy Butler, he wanted an extension. He's up for a $55 million player option for next season. But obviously he's looking for that long-term contract. He is 35 years old. So that's a difficult proposition to ask. Especially, look, if there's one organization in the league that you're not going to get paid for what you did, it is Miami. It is Pat Riley. That's the one organization you won't get paid for what you've done. You get paid for what you provide. And it's that's the part of this business. And obviously Jimmy Butler, he's trying to find the a way out, and it looks like Miami will listen to. It's going to be a difficult trade to make for anybody based on contracts and all that. I don't want to get into all of this. Trying to make the salaries work, compensation, all that. We know it's going to be a difficult trade to make. Point blank, that will be extremely difficult. But what I will say is, this has been multiple. Like Jimmy Butler, at every organization he's been, it's been a raw end. Like, not saying it's not over yet. Obviously, he has to actually get traded or whatever has to happen. But Jimmy Butler, at every organization that he's been at, it's been a rough ending. Chicago. Don't get me started on the mess on Minnesota. Philadelphia is the one place that it was smooth only because, he was only there for a few months, and it was literally, you get traded mid-season, and at the end of the season, you're a free agent. So, that was real, it couldn't really get anywhere there. That couldn't get, go anywhere. And then now Miami. And it's not like it's the first time even at Miami that they have had issues with Jimmy Butler. You remember a few seasons ago, he was going back and forth with Spoelstra on the bench, getting really heated. Udonis Haslem had to step in saying, I'll beat you up. I'll be your, you know what I mean? It was, Jimmy Butler, he's been in, he's been a difficult player to manage. But he's been a great player. What he's done for Miami, in the last couple of seasons, the final run that they went on, how they went to Eastern Conference. Look, he's a great player, and he rises up in the playoffs. But the thing is this the same Jimmy Butler we have now that we have then? And Jimmy Butler always, even in Miami when he was going on those runs in the playoffs, he never had that great, he never really had great regular seasons. It was the postseason where he really took it up and took it to the next level. And that's what teams are going to be banking on trying to trade for Jimmy Butler. And look, I'm looking at it, Memphis, that could be a potential possibility. They definitely have the pieces to get it done. Can they match the salary? That's a whole different thing. The other rumor I heard is Phoenix, but of course Phoenix, they'll have to find a suitor for Bradley Beal, work some sort of three-team trade or something like that. And if you're Phoenix, I don't know why I'm not saying you're making the same mistake by getting Jimmy Butler, but you're getting a similar proposition, older player, having to extend him on an expensive contract as well. I think, I don't know if that's the most viable of options if you're Phoenix. And if you're Jimmy Butler, I mean, now I don't know how this work, but the one place that I think could work for both sides is Golden State. You get a player like Jimmy Butler next to Steph Curry, and what Jimmy Butler has been able to do in the playoffs, and that way, Jimmy Butler can have the lighter load in the regular season like he's had in Miami over the last couple of years, and really be able to save himself to rise in the playoffs. Now again, the money thing, can Golden State make that work? But you get him with Steph Curry and what Jimmy Butler has been able to do in terms of playoff runs, look out. 'Cause Warriors, they always maximize their talent. And having a guy like Jimmy, man, I think that'll make them a difficult opposition for any team in the West. That'll make them very, very difficult. So, I like the idea. I like the idea of that. But again, any trade right now is going to be difficult to make. When you're talking that kind of money involved, when you're talking potential extensions as well. Also, Miami, Pat Riley, he ain't gonna get cheated. He's gonna get his value. Pat Riley is gonna get the value, what he believes is necessary to get for Jimmy Butler. And if they have to, suck it up, they will suck it up and not trade him. They will take whatever comes with that. Pat Riley will be the last executive that you're gonna play. He won't get played. So he'll get the value out of Jimmy Butler. But again, I don't know, part of me is saying this is Jimmy Butler has played his last game for Miami Heat. The other part of me is saying, I don't know, it's a difficult trade to make. The one thing I will say though is, I think this will only get worse in the fact that, you have the 7-game suspension now, right? But after the suspension, he's not traded. He eventually has to come back. And so far, it hasn't really been, it's been, the press conference was bad and how he was talking about how he needs to find this joy and he probably has to do it somewhere else. Yeah, that's bad. But we've seen some real crash outs by Jimmy Butler, especially what we, the Minnesota incident. It can get to that. It could get to that if Miami are not careful in how they deal with this situation in the next couple of days. Because this suspension could be the turning point to light up that fire inside Jimmy. Oh, yeah, now it's this whole organization against me. I got to prove all these people wrong. I got to prove all these bums wrong. I got to prove this coach wrong, this owner wrong, this executive wrong, blah, blah, blah. And that's when it becomes a really nasty situation. I don't think Miami Heat want that. I think Miami Heat has an image as a first-class organization in the NBA that they want to uphold, that they want to continue on uphold. And the last thing that they want is to have, this nasty breakup or drama and, filled breakup. So, there's a lot of nuances to this argument to be had, but you know, even if you're trading for Jimmy Butler, I don't quite know if you're gonna be getting that same Jimmy Butler that took Miami to the finals. That can take a team on his own and go on a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's difficult for me, but yeah, we'll see.